Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Maleeha. Thank you for being part of our celebrations for the 25th anniversary of LSE's Lahore chapter. My name is Sabah Shahid, and I'm a graduate of the MSc in Local Economic Development Program, batch of 2013. For the benefit of the audience, we can begin with a brief sort of discussion about your experience at LSE, the program you studied, and how you feel it shaped your career or professional journey.
Well, my days at the LSE were some of the most fun days, I think, of my life. There was learning, there were friendships with people from actually across the world. And then the kind of international environment in which one was exposed to higher education and quality education at that. I studied government at undergrad level, and then I went on to do my PhD in political science. And I sort of transitioned straight because I was lucky enough to get a first in my BSc Econ. And therefore, they said there was no need for me to go through the whole drill of MPhil first and a PhD later. So, but I took a break in between. I took a break of about a year. I came back and tried my hand at teaching. I taught for a year at the Quaid-e-Azam University. And I felt, no, I wanted to go back and do my higher education and then go seek a career.
Mm-hmm.
So, LSE was such a pivotal part of my life. And yes, it shaped a lot of my thinking. I think it made me very aware of the other, if I can put it that way, that life was not just about you. It was about a lot of things that were beyond you and a world that lay well beyond our country.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was to return to Pakistan as soon as I finished, but I did get some experience at teaching at the LSE. I taught for about 5 years. I started while doing my PhD, and then I continued. I was teaching political sociology. In fact, I ended up doing things which I haven't formally studied. I mean, political sociology, I did not study, but I taught it. You said I sort of specialized in foreign policy. I never studied international relations,
Mm-hmm.
but I practiced it. I practiced foreign policy. So, sometimes I think what is important, Sabah, is that a good education gives you the foundation to pretty much do what you want to do, even if you haven't studied it formally, but it prepares you. And I think the LSE was unique in the sense that the undergrad program had, economics, it had a couple of courses in international relations, although I did not specialize in it. So it was an amazing experience. And of course, I made many friends, some of whom I'm still in touch with. Some of my students I'm still in touch with. There's one student in Colombia, in Latin America. I still exchange WhatsApp with him. So, it's an amazing place to learn, to make friendships, and really to be aware of the larger world around us.
Absolutely. I think a good educational experience goes beyond academics, right? And part of that process is gaining those experiences that you mentioned, interacting with different people, learning to adapt to new viewpoints, and take advantage of the diversity and opportunity of learning that's beyond the classroom. But I do want to move on to your professional experience as a practitioner, as a diplomat. And of course, the audience should take advantage of your extensive career as a diplomat, especially with respect to understanding Pakistan's sort of current situation in, world affairs. And if you could sort of talk a little bit about this new changing world order and how you feel maybe Pakistan would need to reset as we see a lot of these global dynamics shifting in terms of also power dynamics internationally.
Well, Sabah, I've been one of the most vocal advocates of Pakistan undertaking a broad-ranging review of its foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is exactly what you're identifying. which is that the world has changed fundamentally. The geopolitical power shifts are before us.
Mhm.
The world is no longer unipolar. Unipolarity passed away into history 20 years ago,
Right.
although sometimes people in our country thinks there's only one superpower in the world. Well, the world is multipolar, and there are let's say, multi-stakeholders that are today shaping the world. They're not just governments. They're the world of finance, there's civil society, there's global public opinion, um, and of course, there's the international media. So, there's so many factors and so many actors, if you like, who are shaping what the world looks like and how the world is responding to some of the challenges of our time. So for Pakistan, it's very important, I think, to take stock, to also look at, in a way, go back and review its core national objectives, because foreign policy, I've always said, begins at home. It's not something up in the air or in the sky. So we have to start by looking at defining, framing, and perhaps sometimes reframing our national objectives, and then ensuring that our foreign policy reflects that, is in pursuit of that, and also that our strategy and our diplomacy is then effectively pursued in order to secure those national objectives. So I think, I make this case for going back to the drawing board. I'm not sort of saying that our national goals change fundamentally. Many national goals, of course, remain the same because they're fundamental. The need for Pakistan to establish political stability, to the need for Pakistan to ensure economic progress, economic growth, investment, um, also to ensure the security of our borders. Um, then the whole sort of direction in which Pakistan wants to go but is unable to because of our perpetual macroeconomic crisis, and that's taking advantage of our strategic location and CPEC, the Chinese backed or the Chinese co-sponsored project, which is the biggest, as part of Belt and Road, the biggest economic enterprise of the century, to take advantage of that to position Pakistan in geoeconomics. So, I mean, geopolitics doesn't go away. Of course, it's there. It's very much so. We have troubled borders with 3 of our neighbors. So, foreign policy is about managing all of the above in pursuit, as I said, of our national interests and our national goals. Now, to do that, a broad review is necessary. To do that, reform of the foreign ministry is necessary. To do that, the manner in which we recruit people into the foreign ministry needs to change, because we are now living in a very specialized world. Generalists don't cut it anymore. And therefore, the manner in which people are recruited and then trained and readied for the job of diplomacy, I think has to fundamentally change. So, again, I've written about it, I've spoken about it. I keep talking about the need for reform and change, both of our foreign policy apparatus, as well as, of course, as I said before, a review of our foreign policy goals.
No, that makes absolute sense. And I feel like often because I come from a background of development policy analysis and advocacy, and I feel like a lot of the research we've done in the think tank sector as well, it's always about Pakistan catching up. It seems like we're either lagging when it comes to economic affairs, technology, or even how we manage our foreign policy, as you mentioned. And while there's awareness of this need for change and evolution from recruitment and training to how we're also strategizing at a higher level, but what we see is, more of the same. I mean, would you agree that our foreign policy is characterized by more of the same? Or do you see some maybe marginal changes or an evolution taking place?
Well, I mean, basically, our foreign policy is reactive, not proactive. And we're constantly, of course, reacting to developments and events. But our foreign policy lacks the kind of initiative that is required for us to have the kind of international relevance. And over the years, I think because of our economic weakness, we have progressively lost our international relevance. Plus, that relevance really came as a result of the Cold War, and then subsequently because of the wars in our region. Those are no longer there. And therefore, two things don't exist anymore. One, the relevance that Pakistan had in the eyes of the international community. And two, the geopolitical rents that Pakistan was able to secure in return for what it positioned itself to do. That's all gone. And I think the chickens have come home to roost. And therefore, again, there is a need to re-examine what we need to do. And I think fundamentally, a strong, effective foreign policy rests on a strong domestic base.
Right.
And you cannot have a strong domestic base if you have a weak economy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you reduce your key relationships to basically just borrowing money, which is what we've ended up doing, it's either borrowing money from China, from Saudi Arabia, from the UAE, that kind of reduces us to the role or the position of a supplicant, which is not a desirable outcome for any country.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly Pakistan needs to really fix its problems at home. Its
Right.
foreign policy cannot be fixed unless it fixes its domestic problems. And those domestic problems, you know very well, Sabah, what they are.
Mm-hmm.
The political turmoil, confrontation in our country, the lack of structural economic reform, the lack or the deteriorating state of human development in our country, the education deficit, 26 million children school going or out of school. We cannot carry on, sorry, we cannot carry on like this. We have 40% of our people living in poverty. We have almost 40% of children under 5 who are stunted because of the poor nutrition. I mean, this is a dismal picture. And this picture has to change. And that's why I say we need to fix these problems. Some are very long term, but we've at least got to start. At the moment, we haven't. We've been so preoccupied by just dealing with the macroeconomic crisis and financial bailouts. So, in this environment, you can imagine the kind of foreign policy we end up having,
Right.
which is not to say that Pakistan is unimportant. Pakistan is potentially a middle power, but to become a real middle power, not just in name, but in substance, it really has to empower itself domestically and, of course, empower itself economically.
No, absolutely. I think I completely agree with that. And I feel we spoke earlier about this need to reset with this change in global power dynamics. And it's really an opportunity for us to really do some internal thinking and introspection. But often what we end up doing is looking externally. And as you mentioned, developing this reactive policy making. But I feel a lot of our narratives that are discussed internally as well have a lot to do with these external actors. And, you, for instance, have been the ambassador to the United Nations twice. And so I also want to take this opportunity to ask about your opinions on the Trump administration, because of course, the USA as a leading global power, even if it's being challenged right now, still continues to really significantly impact international affairs. So if you could comment a bit about, how you view the Trump administration, maybe if we call it 2.0, in comparison to perhaps his first term in office as well.
Well, what we see is a president who is acting arbitrarily,
Mm-hmm.
recklessly, both at home and abroad.
Right.
We see him taking the kind of actions at home, which frankly, I mean, if you look at just immigration, the kind of deportations that are taking place and the crackdown on campuses, the crackdown on dissent, on people who hold views which are different from President Trump's and his team's. I mean, this is a country that is going towards fascism. I have no other way to describe. That's what fascism is.
Right.
Kind of intolerance underpinned by white supremacist views, and racist views. And then overseas, we see President Trump taking the kind of actions and saying the kinds of things which have really upended whatever went in the name of the global order. Whatever international order existed, that's now in a state of total flux.
Right.
Whether it's the tariffs that he's imposed on just about every country in the world, or the kind of statements he's made that he wants to take over Greenland, that he wants Gaza to be turned into some kind of a real estate.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. These are not just controversial, they're reckless, they're dangerous, and they are contributing, I think, to, frankly, America's decline, relative speaking. There's no doubt, of course, that it remains a superpower with great influence across the world. But, this is how empires or civilizations begin to decline.
Right.
Because the kind of own goals he's scoring are not helping America. In fact, today, America's reputation, because of President Trump's administration, frankly, lies in ruins. It has been losing its soft power, and it has annoyed just about every country in the world. I mean, what a record.
Right.
And he hasn't even completed 100 days yet.
Right.
Wait till we see what happens next.
Right.
So this is not an old movie. This is a new movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I agree with you, and I feel maybe our generation is, this morning someone was saying, okay, I don't know if we should use the word lucky, but it's at least at a unique point where we were seeing these great changes in how the world order is structured right now. And of course, I agree with you. I feel like the Trump's administration sort of recent decisions are perhaps expediting America's decline, perhaps as the kind of sort of soft power even that you spoke of. I wish we had more time because I feel like there's so much to learn from you. But in the interest of time, I do want one last sort of message from you, and that's to our future leaders, the youth of Pakistan as well. A message you could share on how you feel as agents of change they could remain motivated, how they could contribute within their, individual capacities or as part of communities. So I think that would be an interesting note to end on.
Okay, Sabha, it's difficult to sort of say that in a few sound bites.
I know.
But let me try.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is, of course, self-belief. If you believe in what you're doing, you're likely to be able to achieve whatever your career objectives are or your life objectives are. And I think the commitment to the country, if you want to be a change agent, you want to play a role in helping your country move forward, then naturally the self-belief as well as a commitment to the country is important. And then I think above all to have an ethical compass.
Right.
Without an ethical compass, I think we're unable really to either be good human beings or to make real, genuine, authentic contributions to the community, which is so important. And lastly, I would say, especially to females and women, that and don't be a whiner ever. To be a winner, you can't be a whiner. So we will face more challenges, even today. In my career, both in diplomacy as well as in journalism, and I've had 3 careers, teaching, journalism, and diplomacy.
Yes.
In each of them, there were obstacles because of gender. But I think the lesson that I learned was, don't let it ever distract you. You are just as good as you believe you are. And the professional skills that you need as a woman are the same that are needed for men. And therefore, there is no need for us to be ever on the defensive. And we just need to face these obstacles and sort of smile at them and say, fine, okay, they're there, but I'll overcome them.
Yeah.
There's no mountain high enough that I can't climb.
I agree 100%. And I think, examples such as yourselves is are there to prove that, there are glass ceilings that have been broken. And as an advocate for women's empowerment and role in society, politics, economics, I agree with you 100%. And I think it's a great note to end on, a great message to end on. I'd like to thank you for your time. Again, I wish we had more time to speak with you, learn from you, hear from your experience, but hopefully we'll have you in Lahore in person as well.
Thank
And
you.
then we can maybe pick your brains a bit more.
Thank you so much, Sabah. All the best and good luck. I hope you have a great event.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.